Can meta go mainstream? You're watching Beyond the Trailers review of This Is the End.
James Franco's having a giant party.
What the?
The sheriff's office is urging people to stay in their homes right now.
I think it's the apocalypse.
We got 12 bottles of water, 56 beers, Nutella, CT Crunch, a Milky Way.
Can I have that Milky Way?
No, you can't have the Milky Way. It's my special food. I like it.
I want some of the Milky Way.
I'd be pretty bummed if I don't at least get a bite of the Milky Way.
Never heard of the term meta? Then you are a mainstream moviegoer. Meta is when something is self-referential, such as a movie about the movie industry or a comic book where the characters know they are in a comic book. You'll notice that I use two forms of entertainment popular with fanboys, as that's the demographic that has popularized the term. There are, of course, different levels of meta, with an intense level of knowledge of the subject matter at hand needed to traverse the deepest levels. And the most successful meta is one that can be accessed on multiple levels. So one has to wonder, can a casual mainstream moviegoer enjoy This Is the End, or is it only for fanboys who will understand all the Tinseltown and genre jokes? Fascinatingly, mainstream audiences tend not to show any interest in movies about movies, with cult hits like The Player, LA Confidential, Boogie Nights, and even Oscar winner The Artist flopping at the box office. Then again, meta-horror comedy franchise Scream was a big hit with audiences, largely due to its high-concept hook, a horror movie where the characters were horror movie experts. And This Is the End certainly has its own high-concept hook, an apocalyptic disaster movie where a number of today's top comedians play themselves. And we are talking top comedians here. James Franco is arguably the movie's biggest star, white hot after starring in Oz the Great and Powerful and Spring Breakers. Jonah Hill is a recent Oscar nominee who scored with 21 Jump Street, and Emma Watson, used heavily in ads for the movie, still has a legion of Harry Potter fans interested in her every move. As for Seth Rogen, Danny McBride, and Michael Cera, well, hopefully they're all just one hit away from staging a comeback. And isn't it nice they're helping out their pals Jay Baruchel and Craig Robinson, who sadly audiences have yet to express any interest in paying to see. Plus, they kinda had to use Jay Baruchel, as he co-starred in the original short Rogen and longtime collaborator Evan Goldberg made back in 2007, in an effort to capitalize on the success of Knocked Up. You can check out the trailer for Jay and Seth vs. the Apocalypse by clicking here, but not if you want to remain excited about seeing This Is the End. So is This Is the End a meta work of genius, or really just a bunch of movie stars playing around and laughing at their own jokes? Let's go find out. So a lot of you have been asking for a BTT crew review, and today we're doing one for This Is the End.
This is a really funny movie. I really liked it. I thought that the humor was really kind of spot on in terms of not being too meta. You don't really need to have seen all of the entire filmography of all of these people to really understand what's going on.
This was a very strong film. A lot of times, we're talking here on Beyond the Trailer about people not doing the best they can with the writing and the acting, the directing, not delivering on every level. And that's what was impressive about this film. It delivered on every level. It was just, you really had to step back and admire the craftsmanship in terms of a comedy.
I hate Seth Rogen, I really do, I have to say. I just think he's not funny at all. He's like a post-stone bear to me.
When I think about it, the reason this movie might have worked so well is because Seth Rogen, his best skill is making you feel like you're hanging out with him and a bunch of really funny friends. And that's what you're doing here, only it's during an apocalypse.
You will be probably referencing or quoting moments from each of these characters, because they all have really great moments, they all get a chance to shine, and without feeling as if all of them get too little screen time.
I love Danny McBride. I think he's great. I watched Eastbound and Down, and he was great in this movie too. Even though he came kind of late into the movie, he did what he was supposed to. He was funny. He played a which is apparently what he's like in real life, supposedly.
I have to say, there were points in the movie where I was like, how can they keep this going? How can they keep being in this house interesting? And they did. And every time that I thought they were going to run out of steam, they had a great new creative comedic idea that recharged the whole film.
Every time you think, oh, this is going to get stale, they just pull a rabbit out of a hat, and suddenly it's hilarious again. And some of the best moments come at the end of the movie. Like, I feel like if you had a graph, like, the best moments would be spread out really, really equally.
I like the demons in it. There was some pretty grotesque stuff that I really enjoyed. I thought that was pretty nice to see in a comedy movie, because you don't see a lot of kind of new stuff. It's more of the same old. This is some more kind of risky, funny stuff they put in there, and I really enjoyed that.
I was also really impressed that this was like a legitimate blockbuster. I mean, I was also impressed that this was like a legitimate summer blockbuster. It was not an expensive film. It cost around $35 million to make, but they spent it really well. At no point was I like, this isn't really an apocalypse, or, oh, I can, totally see the special effects that you did there. I mean, that wasn't part of the joke. What was part of the joke was that it was real. This was a real disaster movie with humor.
I would definitely see this in theaters, not just because it's great to see a comedy, like a good comedy with a crowd, but also because the thrilling moments in this movie are actually pretty thrilling. There's a chase scene that I was literally on the edge of my seat, like, oh my God.
You can see it in theaters if you're a Seth Rogen fan, if you like that kind of humor, that kind of comedy. If you're not, then I don't think it's extremely worth it. You could see it as a rental, but it's definitely one of the better comedies that's come out this summer.
On a 1 to 10, I'd have to give this movie a 9.
So overall, I would give this movie a 9.5.
I give This Is the End a 6.
So overall, we give This Is the End an 8. Have you seen the film? Be sure to share your own thoughts down below. I'm Grace Randolph reporting from AMC Empire 25, and I hope you'll go beyond the trailer for these other top movies.